God's not real. Next.
What? You promised me?
I touch myself to guns.
Glorified Boy Scout.
I'm raw dogging life right now.
Not so controlled chaos.
How was your guys' Thanksgiving?
Actually, not that bad this year. This is the like I think I've told you some of the shit that usually goes on Thanksgiving. This is like I think it's the first one in a while where like no shit has gone down. Like it was just we showed up, we had a good time, we ate just an absolute fuck ton of food, and then we all got tired and went our separate ways. It was very nice to have happen.
Heck yeah.
I didn't do shit. My back has been fucking killing me. I got drunk to the point where it was easier for me to lay down, and that was it. My
Happy
fucking lower
Thanksgiving.
back. Shit,
Sounds like-
fucking like I'm carrying a baby or something. God damn.
Sounds like you were thankful to Fireball this year.
Yeah, I am every year.
Damn, just out here drinking away.
I'm about to start again. Don't worry.
Nah, what about you, Juan?
I made a turkey, I think for the second time I ever tried ever in my life. And this one was fucking immaculate, let me tell you. I don't know. My mom brought over like some of her turkey later in the night. So like me and my wife did our own thing this year for Thanksgiving, like with our own little family. And so like I
Yeah.
made the turkey, and my wife made the mac and cheese and mashed potatoes. And we just did our own little Thanksgiving here. And later in the night, my mom came over because I was like, I want you to try my turkey. Like, I'm pretty proud of my fucking turkey. And so I was like, you can bring a piece of your turkey. I'd like to try yours. But I was like, I'm pretty proud of my fucking turkey. Like, you're going to try my turkey. And my mom doesn't ever pass up an opportunity to see my daughters. So she came over with her husband. And they were kicking it here for a while. They tried it. My mom's husband actually ended up eating like a whole plate of our fucking Thanksgiving dinner because he was like, yeah, fuck it. Like, I'll take a whole plate. Whatever fits on a plate, give me it. And my little sister came over too, and she tried the turkey. But we didn't want to take the baby out in like the cold weather because she's still really small, you know?
Yeah, how's she doing, by the way?
She's good. She's, like I said before, she's filling in, man. Like, she's starting to, like, I call her Chonqueta.
Chonqueta.
Just because she hella eats, bro. Like, she eats. Like, and like the crazy thing is like, she's still small. She's like she's getting heavier, but she's still small somehow. Like, she's just dense. She's not like getting super chunky. She's not like super tall or anything. She's just getting dense, and it's crazy, but whatever. She grows in her own way. She did get taller, and she, like I said, she's gaining weight, but she's still really thin. But I like calling her Chonqueta because of how much she eats.
Damn.
But yeah, that's all we did. We didn't do too much either. I didn't really want to interact too much with like my entire family, just because that's when things start to get crazy, or like I get irritated really quick with some of them, depending on who it is. Because
It's like the older I get, the less I want all this stupid drama. Like, you know what
That's
I
what I
mean? Like,
mean.
I just want to show up, eat some food, have a good time with everybody, and go home.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying, man.
this was like my perfect Thanksgiving because that's exactly what we did. We just showed up, we ate food, had a good time, everybody went home, good day.
I feel like the older you get in general, the more you just want like peace. You know, just like you don't like who cares about fucking like I don't know. At least for me, like I just stop worrying about other people's problems because they're not mine. Like I have my own shit to deal with, like I've said before. So
Yeah.
like I don't know. Why would I like mix myself with other people's problems and like sit there and try to like entertain them when I could just go home and be at peace with like the limited amount of problems that I have that I like solved regularly. You know what I mean? Like, and like my problems aren't even real problems. Like I keep it that way for a reason. Like I as minimal as possible so that like I have my peace. You know? I don't know.
No, that makes sense. I don't like all the headaches and everything else.
No cap.
Like I hit it on a a much simpler level. Like I just don't like talking to my family. I don't like them asking me questions about shit that I've done and like, oh, my tattoos and this, that, and the other. Like I've had the same conversations with my family for like the past 5 years. I'm tired of having them. I'm tired of talking about it.
I feel that. I feel that. And I feel like sometimes, for not like, for me personally, I feel like my family doesn't even really know me like that. Like they make assumptions. Like I feel like to them, I'm still the kid that they knew before I like became an adult and did my own thing and like was out of their lives for a cool little while. You know what I mean? Like I feel like in their mind they still see this like kid that needs them and I guess like wants them around. And it's not necessarily that I don't want them around. It's just that like I don't need them around, so why would I have them around all the time? You know what I mean? Like it's cool to like my family's cool in moderation. I don't mind hanging out with them every once in a while. Like maybe like once a month is cool, like maybe a couple times a month, but like I'm not trying to do like 2 times a week, like where my mom just pops in on me randomly and shit like or like any family member, you know what I mean? Like I just like I said, I enjoy my peace, my own space. Like I've developed my own routine since I became an adult and they weren't a part of it. So it's not like I don't like it sounds fucked
They're
up, but
not
like I don't
required.
yeah, like I don't need to interact with them in order for my day to move on and for me to be at peace with my life.
Yeah, I can feel that.
I feel like eventually you just get to that age where you got your own family now. Like I get it. These are people that all they have left in life probably right now is family. Like when your kids grow up, you're going to want them to come around when you're older. But we're at that stage where like we're in our 20s, our late 20s, our 30s, like we got our own stuff going on. It doesn't I don't need to know what flowers my aunt planted in her garden last week. Like I'm good. I'm chilling. You can keep that to yourself. Good for you, but I'm all right.
You don't want to know about the flowers?
No, the fuck? Do I look like a gardener? Hell no.
Kind of, man. It
I
depends on the
mean,
lighting.
yeah, it
Okay,
just
okay,
depends.
all right, all right. We're back to the Puerto Rican thing.
Hey, it just depends on the lighting, man. You know, sometimes you look like a gardener I used to know. You never know.
Okay.
Especially if you got the do rag on with the knee pads and the fucking hat backwards, bro. It's over. You look like you've
When
been
have
in
I
that
ever
bitch.
worn my
It
hat
look,
backwards?
I'm
it
just
looks
fucking
like
with
you've
you.
been taking care of yards for a while. Like you got experience.
You got experience for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you got your tenure in. Like you're good.
Yards? That's what you're picking?
I mean, you could do hedges too, you know? I don't
Yeah,
That's
you
in
never
the
know, man.
yard.
know.
No, it actually surrounds the yard, Will. If you
Yeah,
you should
I
know that.
don't
You're
know.
tenured. You should know
Yeah,
that.
come on, dude.
Nah, see, it's weird that you know that.
No, it's not because I'm Hispanic and he's white, so he would own the business that I work for.
Okay.
Yeah, it works out that way. Well, I thought you were experienced here, all right? But I see you're
I'm
not.
not. It's not like I'm looking for a job. This ain't a damn interview. I'm trying to not sell myself, as a matter of fact.
Well,
Ooh, I
you're
think
from
he's qualified.
Salary
I
Florida.
think we
7
should.
days.
I think we should give it to him. I think it's his. It's
I
his.
think it is. And he's from Florida, so he can handle the heat, so he
Ooh,
doesn't need as
yeah.
many breaks.
This is great.
I think
It's
that's
great.
why I'm a good roofer. It's really easy for me to just withstand heat. I actually enjoy it for the most part.
Roofing, you do?
Yeah, that's what I did for a majority of my life. I did it for like 5, 6 years.
I didn't know that.
I missed the job, to say the least.
I wouldn't mind roofing. That sounds pretty fun. Well, like when I mean fun, I mean like mentally and physically stimulating.
I don't know. I don't like heights.
And
Why
yet,
not?
you jump on the machines any chance you get.
Yeah, dude, it's the easiest thing. Why would you not do the easiest job?
It's high up there. That's why.
But
Conflicting
that's
interests.
okay. So I've explained this before. Something about it's different. Like,
It doesn't really feel like you're really
no, it
that
feels like
far
you're
up
on a
there.
boat, if anything. It doesn't feel like I'm standing 30 feet in the air. And
Yeah,
like,
I don't know. It doesn't even seem that high either. When I'll be standing like all the way up at the top and just like looking down all the time.
yeah, like I'll go up there and just lean on the railing and just look out, and it doesn't feel like 30 feet. But then, like, I was at Comic-Con or whatever, and I was up on the balcony, and I was like, dude, I'm getting nervous. And it's like, it's so weird how that works. Because I don't know why our brains work that way. Like, I don't know if it's just like I've tricked my own brain into thinking like, oh, you're good, like you don't need to like be scared up here now when I'm on a machine compared to when I'm not. Like, I don't know. I don't know how any of that works.
I don't know. Maybe it is like conditioning, like you know that this because you've done this so many times. But even then, like I feel like standing on balconies you've done so many times in your life that by now you should be accustomed to it, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. I still get freaked out when I'm like on the top floor of like a hotel or something. They have like a little apartment like balcony thing, you know?
Mm.
I still get super nervous when I'm like out there.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Coleman. When I was a kid, like around 9 to 10 years old, so like when I was 9, we moved down to Mexico, and for fun, bro, because I didn't go to school that whole year. When I moved to Mexico, me and my siblings did the most random shit. And like my little brother was like 3 at the time, so we would just like kind of make sure that he was okay, while me and my sister, who was 6 at the time, just went out and did stupid shit. One of our favorite things to do, bro, was to climb onto our balcony and like jump onto the neighbor's roof. Because of the way that the townhomes were structured, is like it was on a hill, you know what I mean? So our
Yeah.
balcony was like a little bit lower than the neighbor's roof, like the people, like the building in front of us, roof. So me and my sister would just jump onto the fucking roof and just jump rooftop to rooftop from the townhouses from there and just like look over the fucking thing and like just kick it, eat snacks up there and shit.
It's fucking
Fuck
playing
that.
Assassin's Creed in real life, bro. I swear to God.
Bro, so like as a kid too, like I used to climb, what are they called? The door jams with my fingertips and my fucking, like I don't know. I've always liked doing shit like that. So is my brother. I think we all do, obviously, because my sister did it with me. But yeah, that shit's fun, dude. I don't free running and shit like that is fun. Parkour. So like I guess that's as a child I've conditioned myself to be okay with heights and shit. So maybe it is a matter of conditioning, but like I said, that's still weird though because like you still get nervous around, but you've been on patios and shit like that, or not patios, but balconies
Like
and stuff.
balconies, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is I love the mountains, right? Like I love being up high in the mountains. And like I can be like on a cliff, but I can't be like on the edge of a cliff because then it like messes with me. But I can stand like 3 feet from the edge of the cliff and be completely fine. Like nothing in my brain is like, oh, this is dangerous. So like I've never understood why it works that way. Because sometimes I'm terrified of heights and other times I'm not.
It's interesting. How do you feel about heights, Will?
Um, I used to be terrified of heights when I was like super young, but I would still like climb trees and shit. And then I fell out of one, which kind of showed me that I'm still mortal. You know, if you fall, that shit's gonna hurt. Might even die. But like roller coasters and shit, one of the rides at an amusement park that terrified me as a child is at Six Flags called the Superman, where it just
I
takes you up
love.
way up in the air and drops you free fall
Yeah.
to the fucking bottom. I got off that ride. I think I was like 14 or 15. I just fucking cried. Like I don't know why. I was already on the ground, but I started crying. Like hugged my mom, and I was like, that was the scariest shit, literally fucking ever. That's wild. But after that, I fucking started roofing. I'm up on these roofs. I've fallen off a couple roofs before. That's never fun, but it was funny. I mean, that's That's the takeaway. As long as it was funny and I didn't die, it's fine. And then I had a big project. What the fuck is? It was a grain silo. We were trying to fix the roof of a grain silo. So we had to go out like to the edges of the silo at the very top, and the railing stops like 3 or 4 feet in, the safety railing. So I'm just out there trying to fucking roof this grain silo with no nothing, no harness, no nothing. If the wind was strong enough, would have blew my ass off. I would have just died. Look down and see the fucking ground, and I'm like 4 or 5 stories in the air. That shit just changes your perspective. Like, I don't know. I stopped being scared of heights after that.
I feel you.
Be in that position on my own, like some of the, like you were talking about free running, people do that shit just on their own. They'll go up there and be up there with no safety harness, no restraints, no nothing like that, and they'll just sit up there. But I did it as a job, so like I was exposed to it, and it's not as, I guess my brain was like, it's not really as scary as I used to think it was.
Sometimes your mind is your biggest limitation.
For real.
Shut up, bro.
It really is though. But I don't. Yeah, I fuck with heights. I don't know. Some like don't get me wrong. Some shit's kind of scary, but situationally, like I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. It is height is a weird thing. Like fear of heights. Cause I'm not
Yeah,
scared. Like I'm
well,
not necessarily scared of heights, but there's situations I don't want to be in. You know what I mean?
and for me it's weird because like my only two real like fears are heights and like the deep part of the ocean, right? Like I've swam in the ocean, I'm fine in the ocean, but if I can't like touch the bottom of where I'm swimming in the ocean, I'm like, nah.
I mean, you
But
can
then
touch the
like
bottom if you know go down there far enough.
I
yeah,
mean, yeah. Yeah.
but then I'm like, I'm fine swimming in ponds and lakes and stuff like that though. Like you know what I mean? So like I don't know what it is that
I feel
like
like because
freaks
you
me out
know
so
there's a
much.
bottom of the lake, that's a little different. But like, if you get out there far enough in the ocean, you don't know if there's a bottom. That shit will go on forever until you hit the bottom.
Though, yeah, there is a bottom, Will, but
Listen, you don't know. Have you been to the bottom?
no, we've been to the bottom. Mariana Trench, right? It's like 4 miles deep, whatever it is.
Or have you been to the bottom?
No, and I never will.
And
Uh, unless the ocean goes dry for some reason, no.
And that
that'll
would
be
be the end of the world.
the end of the world. Yep, we're dead.
Nah, it'd be fine. It'd just have to rain a little bit. Fill it
I
right
mean,
back up.
with what water is the problem here?
Because the rain comes from the water that comes from here, supposedly.
Fill it right back up. We got a big aquifer under us. We'll be fine.
The government can make them synthetic clouds. We'll be good to go.
They'll bring in water from China and put it up in the atmosphere.
This is all one
And
of
they'll
them
bring their
simulations anyway. This is all a game. You're just fucked up living in it, all fucked up and crazy.
yeah,
You ever
they're
seen The
gonna
Sims?
bring
Play
one
The
of them
Sims?
helicopters in with that big water tank on it, and they're
Could
gonna
you
drop it from the sky.
could you imagine if life really was just like we're somebody's Sims? You know what I mean?
What the
Like
fuck is my player doing? Like, dude, playing as me. He don't make no sense.
like what if we're just Sims in like a game that Queso like in Queso's stream right now? Like we're not even real people. Like this is just like somebody's just streaming us on Sims.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Queso's pretty funny, so I'd be alright with that.
I mean, me too, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'd be trippy, dude. To know that everything you've ever done in your life wasn't even your choice. It was some like random kid playing in their fucking basement.
Well, that's what people who believe in religion believe. Everything was God's plan or whatever. So technically, it's not your choice.
See, so I have a weird perspective on that because I'm a big believer in the door method. Like, have you ever played like Fallout 4, the Nuka-Cola DLC?
Mm-mm.
There's a mission where you have to choose one of three doors. Two of them have grenades in them. Like one of them is just like the next pathway door, obviously. I think the way that like free will works is like that. Like you get to choose, but no matter what, he knows exactly like what's on the other side of those doors. Is the way I view like God and religion with the whole free will thing.
So it's like a create your own adventure book, you know what I mean? Where it's like the outcome's already there. It's just that
Yeah,
you
you
have like the
choose which
illusion of
one.
choice.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. That's a pretty cool way to look at it. I mean, like I guess that makes sense. I could get behind that.
Yeah, because I don't know, everybody, because like I'm a Christian, Will. Like I more so just believe that what the Bible says is true. I don't necessarily agree with like the church and everything else and everything. Um, but yeah, that's the way that I view like free will. It just makes sense to me in my head that way. Because otherwise, free will is just a scam, and I don't. That doesn't sit right with me. If it is,
I don't believe
like,
in
there's no
anything.
point in saying you have free will and then being like, well, God knows exactly what you're gonna do. Like, no, that's not free will. Then that's already predestined, and I don't believe in that.
You don't believe in what is it?
Like predestination type stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Like
I
you were put on
firmly
this.
believe that like your life has a set end date. Like, you can't do anything to change that. I really do believe that like for me, I think everybody just has a certain expiration date that can't be changed. So like, you can go to the gym, you can do all the things right, but at some point you're still going to die on the same day at the same time in the same manner you were supposed to die. Um, but everything else is like free will oriented, I guess. Like it goes back to the door method, like what I was talking about.
I If that were the case, then like I'm a pretty healthy person. Like internally, I don't make the healthiest decisions, but um I had to sit down with like my doctor and she was like, this drinking habit of yours will kill you. So like I could stop doing that, then I would live longer, but I'm not
Yeah,
going to.
I don't think you would. I think you would still die on the day you were supposed to die. Because like I've known people who have like smoked their entire lives, and the doctors were like, "You're gonna die in 6 months if you don't stop," and they go on to live for like another 10 plus years, and they don't change a thing. So like, I think that like the day we're supposed to die is already set. Like I don't think that's a like an optional thing.
Does death scare you?
Yes and no. So like the part that scares me is I don't know if I'm going to heaven or hell. Actually dying itself doesn't scare me at all, no. Because I just want to know what's going to happen. Like, I'm a big spoiler guy. I like knowing what's going to happen at the end. That's why, like, when I first read the Bible, I started in Revelation, which is like apparently a giant no-no for people trying to get other people into Christianity. But like, I like to know what's going to happen. So I always like if I'm like watching a show, I want to know the spoilers. I want to know what's going to happen. That's why I like anime so much because I can start watching an anime and then be like, oh man, I really wonder what happens. And I can go and read the manga and find out, like, oh, this is what's going to happen. And then I can just kind of enjoy the show. Um, but yeah.
I think that like ties into the curiosity aspect of things. Like I'm just curious as to what happens afterwards.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. Like I'm not really necessarily scared of death. I'm like I don't know. Like I don't want to die right now, you know what I mean? Like I still want to experience and learn a lot more, but I'm not necessarily scared of death itself. But I'm very interested to see what happens like after you die, if anything happens after you die.
If nothing happens after we die, I will be extremely happy.
It's
Because,
just darkness. But
well,
like
I
your
would rather
consciousness doesn't
that.
exist anymore. So it's nothingness, I guess. The absence of anything.
I'd rather that than go to hell. All honesty. Uh, because I have a very dark perceptive of like hell and everything else. Like I hate when like somebody's just a piece of shit. You go to their funeral and the pastor's like, "Heaven gained another soul today," and I'm like, "No, they didn't." Like I
No,
really
they
don't think, I don't think I'd go to heaven if I died right now. I really don't. I think a lot of people have this misconception that they would, but I don't think that they would.
I
And I
don't
hate to be
necessarily
that
think that I
guy,
would.
but
What have you done in your life to really make you that bad of a person?
I just haven't like believed enough, I guess. Like I'm real skeptical still about God. In a lot of ways, like I know he's real, right? But like I still sit here a lot and I'm like, was that actually a God thing or was that just coincidence? Kind of like stuff. I also believe that me just like I genuinely 100% believe that God exists. Same way I believe the devil exists, same way I believe in demons. Um, but that doesn't mean I'm going to heaven just because I believe that God exists. Right? Like he gave us rules that we need to follow and I don't do that. And God is a God of justice. He's not a God of like all love like all these churches are saying. Uh he doesn't he doesn't just let you do whatever you want because you believe in him. Like you're going to have to pay for it. And so I don't think I would probably end up going to heaven just based on like I don't know, that I guess.
So you know how you said that things happen and you're like, oh, I don't necessarily think that that's God or whatever, it's just like coincidence.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with that. But I also kind of believe that the things that happen to you, like, so I believe that if something keeps happening in your life, it's because that there's a lesson that you need to learn. And who's going to teach you that lesson? Like, what, you know what I mean? Who's teaching you that
Yeah.
lesson?
Well,
So,
no,
like,
there's definitely times where like if it's happened like 3 or 4 times, like you should definitely be like, okay,
let's
I
sit
get it,
back and
man.
reflect on what's going on. Like, what do I need to
Yeah.
do? What do I need to change? What do I need to fix? And like, that's what,
Yeah.
so like, in that aspect of it, like, I, I do believe in like karma and coincidence. So, like, I think that when things like that happen to us in our life, it's kind of our punishments in a sense. So like whenever you do something negative, like at some point it's gonna come back and affect you. And like if you do something like extremely negative, at some point like it's gonna like come back and probably kill you. You know what I mean? Like in some way, it'll eat at you internally. You know what I mean? Some shit. But I think that like a lot of them are like direct consequences, like or punishments to like whatever it is. And if like at the end of the day, like you start to like I said, reflect on whatever it is, like why is this happening to me? Like what did I do to like, like how did this happen? And you just correct those actions in those moments and like you just keep like it's like Japan says, like if you get 1% better a day, it's better than like or
Yeah, the
whatever they
Kaizen
say.
belief.
Yeah, that. Like
One
if you just
percent better every day is better than no percent better every day.
right. So like if you just take those little steps to like correct and better yourself every day, like at some point like you should earn your way into like the good place. You know what I mean? Like heaven. Have you seen that show, The Good Place?
It sounds familiar, but I don't think I actually have like seen it, if that makes sense.
It's pretty cool. I think it's on Netflix or Hulu, one of the two. But it's a pretty cool show. You should check it out. It's basically like so all of them believe that they're in the good place. Like and it's actually just four people and like a bunch of demons is basically what it is. But they believe that they're in heaven. And that it's this like little neighborhood specifically tailored to like their likes interests because of the fact that they made it to heaven. But realistically, like these are really like four really shittier people. But some of them like weren't even like intentional. Like I don't know how to explain it, but the show explains it. But basically, like they're trying to work their way into the actual good place, and like at some point, they even convince the demon that's overseeing their world that like he's like, I don't even think that you guys deserve to be here. Like I kind of want to help you get to the good place. You know what I mean? Like, but
That
basically, like
sounds really fucking interesting.
it's really cool. It's
You
called The
said it's
Good
on
Place.
Hulu?
Hulu or Netflix, one of the two. It might even be on both.
Well, I have both, so let's find out.
I have always taken a firm stance on religion. I just don't believe in anything. I don't, and it's partially because I was never really exposed to it. I mean, I've been to church a couple times. I've sat through a couple of what do they call them? The sermons or whatever the fuck. I've sat and listened and paid attention to what's being said, and then when you go out and you experience life as a person and see not only things that happen in your own life, but things that other people do, and the shit that they fucking just like killing little kids, or like on the worst end of it, doing shit like that, and just that nobody would have caught them if somebody didn't snitch, or like, with how advanced we are in technology, we'll figure it out probably. Sometimes there's still like unsolved murders and people who are out there who have killed people and nobody knows besides them. And like when you're faced with the hardships of life, like I know that Juan knows what I'm talking about because you've been in the military, and like, people just needlessly die in the military, and you just are expected to go on with your life. Take that, you've seen it, you've been exposed to it, and you just keep going, and that's it. That to me seems fucked up in like every aspect sense of the situation. That being exposed to something like that and then just expecting to be, oh, it happened. It is what it is. Um,
So
and the rationalization of like, oh, it was God's plan. Well, why? Why would you ever do that? Not only to the person that it happened to, but like the people who were around you at the time. That seems really not. How do I fucking say it? Like what a god should be doing, I
and
guess.
Well, you
it's
also got to remember we betrayed God first, right? Like we ate the apple, and like there's no evidence saying it was an apple, but like we just all say it was an apple. When we did that, we got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, which was like our protected place where evil couldn't touch us. And as soon as we got kicked out, like now evil things can happen. Evil people can be a thing. Like evil was like welcomed into the world when we did that. So like part of that, the way I view it is like it's our own fault too, because Adam and Eve couldn't just listen.
Figure it the fuck out. Follow instructions.
And so now we have evil in the world like that. Because that's another thing I also struggle with too. Is I sit there and I'm like, why do you let that happen? And then I
so
have to remember, like, sorry, Juan, I'm gonna try to keep cutting you off.
I'm not you're good.
Uh, and so the way I like have to rationalize it in my head is I'm like, well, actually, we're the ones who like fucked up first. Like we're the ones who allowed that stuff to happen. Because God gave us a bunch of warnings. He's like, hey, don't eat this apple. Don't eat this apple. That's the one. You can do anything you want in this garden. Don't eat that apple. And Eve, with her dumbass self, is like, listen to the snake on the ground rather than the flying sun who walks through this garden who created us.
At the same
And
time, though, like, why was the apple even there? Why have temptation? Because
that's part of the free
us
will
as
aspect.
humans, yeah, us as humans, and temptation is not. It's just not good. Most of
No,
the time, it's hard to resist temptation.
that is part of the free will aspect of things, which is another reason why I don't. There's a lot of things I don't have answers to. Will like I still have these questions too.
So like I don't I'm on your same page that I don't believe in religion at all. I believe in a higher power, like a higher energy, like, and for a good lack of a better term, like I believe in God. You know what I mean? Like there has to be like a higher power. We like nothing exists without outside influence. Like my kids wouldn't have existed if me and my wife didn't do something to create them. You know what I mean? Like and the same thing, like your food that like exists like doesn't exist without any outside influence. Like it has to be planted, it has to be grown, and then from there you cook it into like you make it something. You know what I mean? Like things cannot exist without an outside influence. Like there's no way that one day two fucking particles randomly came together and like life created. Somebody had to put those particles together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
fucking hate science. I don't like sitting there listening to that shit. Like, oh yeah, two rocks, boom, universe. Like, bro,
But
what?
and
Okay,
it's not
I
even like,
guess.
you know what I mean? So like there has to be some sort of outside influence. When I was 12 is when I like probably like was completely desensitized to death, like where I was just kind of like, and like that's where I kind of like lost faith in religion, like sitting there and like I guess like worshiping somebody that in my eyes at that time like failed me. You know what I mean? Like because my sister, my little sister passed away when I was 12, like out of nowhere, and like it like destroyed as a person. Like I didn't go to school for like a cool minute. Like it destroyed me as a person because I didn't understand how it could happen, why it could happen. Like you know what I mean? Like it just didn't make any sense to me. I sat there crying, like praying while my sister was in the hospital, bro. Like and nothing. Like my sister didn't get any better. Like she was just dead. So I lost a lot of faith in that moment on like how it worked. And like as I got older, like I kind of started to like I said, I was kind more people died. Like I didn't grow up in a great place before I moved out to the Midwest, and like even still, I don't even think this is a great place. But I didn't grow up in the great place. I ended up moving away from it, but then ended up moving back. But I didn't grow up in a great place. So like a lot of people that like I knew or like one of my mom's friends and stuff like that, like death was normal to me, but like that death like made me kind of like lose faith in like anything. As I got older, I was forced to like do like all my religious sacraments in the Catholic Church by my family and like whatever. Like I did them. It is what it is. Like after that, it was done. Like I never went to church really again ever. Cause I don't agree with religion or church. But like I said, I believe in a higher power. And I think that in my mind, as I got older, the way I justified it is like my mom wasn't in the right headspace at the time when like we were kids. Like she did drugs and stuff. And at the time, I didn't understand like how something like this could happen. But then it kind of hit me. It's like, okay, well, like maybe it was in some way like a really fucked up lesson because, like Coleman said earlier, like God isn't like this all loving being. You know what I mean? Like, and like I said earlier, bro, like if things happen to you in your life, there's a reason for them. You know what I mean? And like my mom's lesson should have been, and what she should have learned in that moment is like, okay, obviously I need to stop doing the stupid shit that I'm doing and focus on my kids and my family. You know what I mean? That's what she should have learned. But she didn't. And like shittier things kept happening into her in her life until eventually she did realize it. And now things are going fairly well for my mom. And like obviously there's still work that she needs to do for herself in order for there to be like virtually no problems, but problems will always exist because there's always a lesson to learn. Every day you should be learning something. But so I started to look, like I said, I looked at them as lessons. Like the reason things like that happen is like, and as like somebody that knows somebody that goes through something like that. So like for me, like it devastated me to see like my little sister dead. You know what I mean? And I didn't understand why it happened at all. And like I probably still don't understand. Like that's just my way of understanding it to help me like cope with it. You know what I mean? But that's just how I look at it, so that it can make some sort of sense. Like I said, I can cope with it, so that because like I don't necessarily have faith in like humanity because there's like you said there's evil everywhere. There's evil in everyone. Everyone has the potential to be evil. It's just a matter of like I said, taking that 1% a day to like make sure that you don't be evil and you're not evil. You know what I mean? So like to me, death like and that death helped me like to understand death a lot more too because like I'd already lost like my great grandpa who was like super close to me. Like I loved going to his house all the time. And like even recently, I lost my grandpa, and like that shit sucked. I cried for like 2 days. Not gonna lie. But after that, like I developed a mentality that like for one, like everybody dies. Like I've come to terms with death. Like I understand that everyone is going to expire. Your meat suit has to deteriorate at some point. You know what I mean? Like your time will come, and it's inevitable. Every single person on this planet will die. But
Mm-hmm.
and so like I came to terms with like that aspect of it, and to help me like cope with like death itself of like losing somebody that I cared about or like loved or anything like that. It's just like when they die, it's understandable for you to be like hurt and upset in that moment, but it obviously changes your normal, but every day normal changes. You know what I mean? Like you have to recalibrate to an ever changing world. And when a dramatic event like that happens, it's no different. You know what I mean? It's just something that you have to recalibrate from. So like, yes, it's gonna take you a minute to recalibrate, but it shouldn't take you forever. And you need to like adjust and like understand that those people probably don't want you sitting there like wasting your life away, like doing stupid shit, like self fuck, what's it called?
Like sabotaging.
Self-sabotaging yourself over and over again for like a long period of time, when you could like they'd realistically like that would probably piss them off. Like if there was a heaven or hell, like either way they're looking up or down at you, they don't want to see you being fucking stupid. They don't want to see you fucking off. They don't want to see you sad all the time. Like they want to see you striving and doing better, so that they know that you're either going to be in the same situation than them as them or better. You know what I mean? Like they don't want you to stay stagnant and like
They
wallow
want
in
to see you
pity.
do better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that's just like the way that I have gone about those situations and like understanding things personally.
I have always been insensitive. I don't know. I kind of just grew up that way. I grew up in with my mom, single mom, 3 kids. She was going through shit in her life, so that you know translated to me going through shit in my life because she's the only person that I had. So I have always been insensitive, and then like I had an incident when I was 18 where I overdosed on purpose because I was just ready to go. I felt like, and then in that moment of my life, I was content with dying. Like the idea of death, I didn't really care what happened afterwards. I was ready to go. I survived, obviously, but when I closed my eyes that night, I fucking did not expect to wake up, and I did. So death has never really. I can't go to funerals because I don't cry and like feel remorse or bad. Like, and that looks bad on me going there and like trying to show support to these people, but like I can't connect to them on the way what they're feeling. I don't feel the same. So it's hard for me to like rationalize the pain and anguish that they have when I can't feel it myself. So I just stopped going to funerals. I've been to like 4 or 5 throughout my family's life. Um, and I look like the odd man out because everybody's crying. And I've met these people and talked to these people the same amount of time, but it just doesn't hit me the same. I guess I don't. It's hard for me to get on a level of like, man, this, like, yeah, I think it sucks, but like at the same time, I don't, because I don't like being here any more than like anybody else does. And I am I have like a happiness in me, sort of, that like now you're free. You're free from all this, like all this, the bullshit, this bullshit every day. Like can't get away from something every single day. You can have a normal day, but there's usually bullshit right around the corner. And if they were in pain, even more so, like cancer, I think my uncle had cancer or something like that, and it finally took him, and I was like, I'm glad that he's out of it, honestly. Like that shit had to suck, trying to fight through that. It would have been nice if he could have made it, but at the same time, that struggle, I mean, the struggle is over and you can rest now. So, I mean, it's that has always been touchy. Like, part of the reason why my family doesn't really get along with me because I just can't show empathy and remorse like a normal fucking human being, I guess.
You might be a sociopath. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah, I've been told a couple times.
I'm just playing. No, I get it though. Like I'm to that point. Like I said, like my grandpa's the first death that I've cried about in forever. Cause you, like you said, bro. Like I got used to death. Well, like I told you too. Like I got used to death, and I told my wife like after this, like I think the only person like if that dies, if when they die, like I think I'm gonna cry when my grandpa dies. Cause like my mom was this like practically a single mom for a majority of our life too, because she would just have like I don't know. It's hard to explain. So my dad got deported when I was 9. And from there, like pretty much my mom was a single mom. Like she had this boyfriend, but like he wasn't a boyfriend. Like he didn't support us in any way. Like he was a leech, if anything. Like he would drain my mom of like all of her money to buy fucking weed and beer. Where like in middle school I started stealing his weed and selling it so that I could feed my siblings. But like I said, my mom was also her drug habit. So like you know, like it was fucked up. But I forgot where I was even going. What were we talking about?
How
This is just
Will
kind of pissing me
deals
off.
with his, like, with grief, basically. because he was saying how like, and I also think you could still go to those funerals, Will,
Oh
because
yeah, for
everybody
sure, bro.
handles
Grief
grief
differently.
differently.
Yeah, absolutely. Like my
Because
brother didn't
like,
cry at all when my grandpa died. He didn't. And like it also depends on your relationship to the person, like you were talking about earlier. So like for me, oh, that's what I was getting at. So my mom was a single mom her whole life, you know. Like, and the only person, like the only man in my life that was ever like consistent and always there was my grandpa. So like to me, like my grandpa was like my dad, like my father figure, and he was actually a really good dude. He taught me a lot of very useful things, like. And so like I told my wife, like I know that when he dies, like that shit's gonna hurt me. Like I know I'm gonna cry. Like it's gonna fuck me up. But other than that, like the only times I've ever cried for like deaths in my family was, like I said, when I was 12 and I didn't understand why my sister fucking died out of nowhere, and when my grandpa died. But that's just because like I understand death, like you said, like, and like a part of me like understood that my grandpa, because my grandpa also had cancer and he died from it, and like I was also like relieved that he died. It was just shitty seeing like the one man that was ever consistent in my life was no longer there anymore, and it was just shitty to me. I don't know, like that was just, I don't know. I don't even think I'll care when my dad dies.
I think I was thinking about this like last week or so. Um, like the people that you've met in your life. Like, for instance, just for example, if you guys had randomly heard that I got into a car accident and died, I feel like most of you would be like, damn, like that sucks. And that's it. That's it. I mean, the memories would be there for a little while, but you would forget. So like I could in the same breath count on like one hand, one and a half of my hands, how many people in my life would die, and I would genuinely feel like some kind of sadness. But at the same time, with like my condition, being schizophrenic, everything that I do every day is just born in anger. So like I would be crash out worthy angry before anything else. Before I was sad, before I could like recognize the grief and break down and do all that shit, I would be very, very mad. And that happens with literally anything. Like I'm just a pissed off person all the time. I've tried to be not as angry. It doesn't work unless I'm medicated, and that shit costs a lot of money. So I just kind of deal with it and I keep going. Um, Drinking kind of helps me with that. Like I don't get mad when I'm drinking. It makes me, if anything, happier, and it's a cheaper alternative. So I stick to my alcohol, and it keeps me level. It keeps me going. It fucking makes things easier for me. But that I feel like that also ties into the how I deal with stuff and traumatic experiences. I'm just angry, and I will be angry about it for a very fucking long time, and then that's it. I mean, I'm an angry person anyway, so it kind of just blends together. It's hard for me to even like my wife has talked about it. It's hard for me to show emotion in general. Um I Anger is a horrible way to live. It is a horrible way to fucking live, to be angry. I'll just wake up angry and do everything out of spite, but I mean, I can't. If I want to get rid of it, I got to die, and that's it. It's stuck with me forever. So, I guess I have learned to adapt and try to live life as best as I can and not make other people's lives miserable to a certain extent. Like, not everybody's going to get along with the fact that I'm just a shit talker, but I feel like comedic relief is the easiest way for me to go through my day to day fucking basis. And so I make jokes out of fucking everything, anything that I can, because I like to laugh. I don't like to be mad all the time. Shit fucking sucks. I don't like to be this angry ass person all the time. So I make jokes, things that I think are funny, and I try to keep it pushing and not make other people mad because I don't like living this way, and I would not want other people to have to live this way either, especially because of me, of all people.
I hear you.
I don't know. I
I
guess I'm
get
just
you.
a different person. It's
Well, like you also
schizophrenia affects your mind a different way.
like
So
yeah, I was
like
about to say that.
it is a different case for me. I'm not your normal average Joe, unfortunately, but
And that's cool. Like I would love, like even then, like your perspective is cool because I've never really actually spoken to anybody that's actually been like diagnosed with schizophrenia and shit like that. So like your perspective is pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like I've never actually seen that perspective of how to like deal with things like that. You know what I mean? Like I've never had anybody explain how they deal with schizophrenia and like coping with death and all that shit like that. So it's cool. Thank you for sharing that shit. That's pretty cool.
Make that sense.
Alright, next topic.
It was like Earthman or something dumb.
Yeah, everybody dies.
So, get out.